The following is a program of the Santa Barbara County Education Office. To learn more, visit sbceo.org.
Hi, I'm Susan Salcido, Santa Barbara County Superintendent of Schools, and I am so delighted to introduce our guest today, Ken Dahmen, who's the Program Manager at Bici Centro in Santa Maria. We can't wait to define that and say what that is and means, but for now, Ken, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you so much, Susan.
Really appreciate your time and can't wait to talk about Bici Centro. But let's start at the beginning and talk about you and your childhood and where you grew up. And I know our viewers are going to love to hear this.
Okay, yeah. So actually I grew up in a northern Santa Barbara County place called Tanglewood, just outside of Santa Maria city limits. It's really fun growing up out there, you know, kind of secluded a little bit, you know, you kind of got your own community out there, but kind of in between Orchid, Guadalupe, Casamalia, and Santa Maria. So it was really nice to have influence from all those different communities as well.
Yeah. So what schools did you go through? Elementary, junior high, high school?
I attended Arianis Elementary School and middle school over there. And then once I finished up there, I went to Santa Maria High School.
And then from there, what colleges did you attend?
I went to Hancock for about 2 years where I earned about 6 different degrees, and then I transferred to Cal State Northridge.
And what did you study at Northridge?
I studied psychology and I have a bachelor's degree in psychology.
From Northridge. Well, let's rewind a little bit because you just said in 2 years you had 6 degrees from Allen Hancock College. Is that even, that must be possible. I was going to ask if it is possible, but it must be.
Yeah.
What are some of the areas in which you studied during that time?
Psychology, early childhood development, sociology, geography, anthropology, and social sciences.
Wow. That's fantastic. Ken, it says a lot about you, and it also says a lot about Allen Hancock College and what you can do, what a local gem it is. And
yes.
you are, so it's a double.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So you went to school and studied, did you say psychology?
Yes.
Okay. And so what was your intention in terms of what you wanted to do with that degree?
I think just bottom of the line helping people, like, you know, psychology, you know, there's a mass population that has, mental issues and just, problems getting through the day-to-day and stuff. And with a psychology degree, you're able to help a lot of individuals like that. So that was the main focus when I first went in. But as I went through the process of college, kind of defining like what I wanted to do with my passion and stuff like that, it was really hard to tell your college friends that you wanted to teach people how to ride bikes for other reasons, other than just for have fun, So it was pretty funny and interesting to do that.
So you were sort of divided. You wanted to have a career path around bicycling, but you also thought, let me help people with this psychology degree. So a little bifurcation there.
Exactly.
And so it sounds like after you finished school, you pursued some teaching or teaching professions or education. Can you say a little bit about that?
Definitely. So I was kind of, toying with the idea of going off and getting my teaching credential, but then I got introduced to SB Bike and kind of, allowed me to do both the things. Teach bicycling was the thing, so in all aspects was the thing. So I wanted to become a teacher, but not necessarily the standard teacher, So it was really fortunate that I was able to find the organization as the thing.
So you're combining both worlds, basically,
Yes,
the teaching world, the helping world, but also what you said a moment ago, which was, how can I get a position or a job doing what I love, which is in this field of bicycling? So you're really doing it.
Yeah, I didn't think it existed at first, but then further research shows otherwise. So
That's
really,
fantastic.
really cool.
That's fantastic. So earlier, as I introduced you, Ken, I said BC Centro. Yes. And for the viewers today who haven't seen the words BC Centro, let's spell it out because I think it'll actually help. So
Yeah, it's B-I-C-I, and then second word, C-E-N-T-R-O.
okay, so BC like a bicycle,
Exactly.
right? And Centro.
Like a center. Yeah.
Center, okay,
Yeah, exactly.
excellent. So like a bicycle center, excellent. And so it hasn't really been here in Santa Maria for very long, and I know you were really instrumental in getting it here. In fact, the story is kind of a different kind of a story in terms of how it got to be. So share with us the story of how this started.
Well, I was really, heart set on being involved with the organization, and I saw that they had a North County Education Director position open, so I applied for the job, and I didn't get it. But during the interview process, they asked, what I saw, myself being involved with the organization, and I said, I would love to have a BC Centro, which is SB Bike is Santa Barbara County Bicycle Coalition, and they basically promote cycling for many different forms throughout Santa Barbara County. And so
and they're the parent organization for
of BC
Centro.
So BC Centros are do-it-yourself bicycle shops that what we do is get donated bicycle and refurbish them to send out to our other programs like our elementary school PE programs and our after-school pedal programs at the middle schools. Yeah,
okay. All right. So you approached the Santa Barbara Bike Organization, said, I think I'd like to go have this in North County.
Yes.
And then what job did they actually say? Actually, let's have you do this.
Yes. So they weren't quite prepared for that. They were kind of taken back and thinking, this is probably not something we can do right now with their bandwidth. And they're very strategic, and they don't want to start a program that's not going to last for a very long time. So they definitely taken that into consideration. And so they told me maybe we should hire you as a contract worker to do community outreach events, so that way we can collect information from the community members who would actually want to be involved with this. And so we did that for, I want to say, about 8 months or so before they reached out to me while I was working my private job and said, hey, we have funding for you to come on as a full-time employee to put this program together and make it happen. What do you say? Can we work this deal out? And so I definitely said yes. And so I was super excited about that. And I think it'll be 2 years coming up here in the next 2 months. So,
that's great. You said yes, and by the way, I gave you this idea for the Santa Maria. No, that's really, really fantastic. So you were supporting it with events and outreach, and then now have this BC Centro, this center here in Santa Maria. And where is the bike center, BC Centro, located?
It's at 310 East Oak Street in Santa Maria, down the street from the Kids Discovery Museum and down the street from the Santa Maria Bonita School District office.
Great. A corridor of many different organizations
Exactly.
there.
Mm-hmm.
And so for those viewers who have not walked into your doors, if you were to walk in, describe what we would see. How big is it? What would we see on the walls? What's on the floors? What do we see?
Definitely. So there's a lot of community bulletins on the walls. As you walk in, the shop is kind of split down the center. It's kind of a retail bicycle thrift shop on one side, and then a 6 workspace on the other side, including tools and tables and truing stands and wheels hanging above for purchase or for earning. If you don't have any money, you can earn used products in this shop, which is really nice for individuals who are low income. And so same thing with the bicycles, and the retail side of the shop is more for enthusiasts and people who are just trying to get their bike back working, adequately at a nominal fee.
Got it. So it's retail on one side and education shop on the other side,
Exactly.
sounds like. And is that really the mission? I mean, what is the mission of this BC Central?
It's the mission is to give people like a better understanding and a sentimental value of their property, and just being able to connect with it and be able to identify issues and repair them themselves is the things that kind of empower them, and not just to have to rely on somebody else for those needs, because they are ongoing, because maintenance is required of everything that's being used. And so just building that type of mentality for commuters and people who use bikes is kind of the ultimate goal for a BC Centro, but SB Bike as a whole, to get people out there, stay healthy, and financially more successful.
So for car owners or car drivers, we might take our car to a shop and then leave it.
Exactly.
And in this case, you take your bike and actually stay and learn how to work on it.
That's correct.
That's right. Okay.
Yes,
So
yeah.
that's sort of the concept behind BC Centro.
Definitely.
Exciting. And lots of volunteers, I understand, work.
Ton,
Yes. How many volunteers would you say in a week or month?
Probably, in a week or a month, that's, let's see, somewhere in the 200, but there's more active volunteers than others, so there's more regular, consistent people who show up on a regular basis, but we are open 4 times a week, so there's people showing up every day, there's people who show up once a week and stuff like that, but every little bit helps, and anybody who comes to the shop, I think, has really appreciated the experience and kind of exceeded the expectations of what they were assuming was going on. So yeah, I'm really thankful for that.
It sounds fascinating. It sounds like such a service, but also an education.
Definitely.
And BC Centro is more than a shop that receives customers. I'll call them customers for a moment.
Yeah, no worries.
You actually do outreach into schools.
Yes,
Is that right?
exactly.
So can you describe some of that outreach that you do?
Definitely. So we have a dedicated youth day. So we're actually changing it soon to Monday. We're doing it on Wednesdays currently, but yeah, we're changing it. And what we do to get people to come to the schools is we do career days, we do health fairs. Let's see. Also, we do something with Santa Maria High School called March of the Saints. It's put on by the Active Alumni Association, which I'm on the board for. And so, yeah, it's just an opportunity to go back to the high school and show, hey, this is what I'm doing with my life. All career paths are a little different. People kind of have an idea of what they want to do, but not really detailed and defined. But it shows kids that there's not just one option for them after school or a few. There's a lot more things out there to do is the thing. So.
And I understand that you serve PE classes as well,
Yes.
serve in PE classes as well.
Yes.
Are those in particular schools only throughout Santa Maria Bonita? What schools
Yes,
or
so-
some of the schools?
So we have, it's called our elementary bicycle and elementary PE. And so we basically take a fleet of bikes to the school and teach the second, basically to the 4th graders. On the South Coast, we have a little bit more bandwidth there because we've been there a little bit longer. So we have the ability to teach up to, I believe, 7th grade or something like that. But for now, Santa Maria and Lompoc, we have between the two, I think we have 1, 2 in Lompoc. We have 4 here in Santa Maria, and then we've just picked up interest from 3 other schools, so we're really excited about that. And once we get the funding for that, we will definitely accommodate those schools.
So you bring bicycles to the PE
Yes.
classrooms and teach about
helmet fit, bicycle safety. You want to check yourself from head to toe, check your bike, from A to Z, and then we put them out on the road and make sure they can ride. It's a little chaotic, I will admit, but it's a lot of fun is the thing. The kids love it, and the schools really like it because if they know they're going to have bicycle class on a Monday, they're going to be there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And Ken, is it the same as Pedal Power you mentioned earlier?
So Pedal Power is actually an after-school program that we do with the junior high schools.
Okay.
And sometimes we'll do it with like a 6th grade class, but it just depends on the availability and the interest. But we've been at Tommy Kuntz Junior High for, I want to say, 11 years or something like that. It's been a long time. We have a really committed teacher. Her name's Charlotte Bellier, and we're really just super blessed to have her. And she's actually having a Pedal Power as we speak this week. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah. So it's a 6-week program. The kids get to basically learn how to replace an inner tube and patch an inner tube, and learn all the traffic skills of riding a bike. Kind of learn how to ride to and from places successfully and safely, and be confident in their skills. That way they can get themselves to and from places without having to bug mom or dad for a ride is the thing. So it really empowers those young adults and gets them to kind of take a little bit more responsibility for themselves. And yeah, we love being able to be a part of that process with them. So
That
it's cool.
sounds great. The Pedal Power. In terms of the changing the tubes and all that, I might have to go to go to Tommy Kunston.
No,
Be part of that program.
Either there or BC Centro, either one will
Okay,
work.
perfect.
Yes.
And I love that you're teaching some of this independence for some of these young teens.
Definitely,
Yeah,
yeah.
very, very neat. And so in terms of the shop, so we're talking about programs in schools, but now there are dedicated time periods, it seems like, at your shop for certain learning. What are some of those programs at the shop?
So we do have Confident City Cycling, the programs that take adults basically and teach them how to ride in the city using different infrastructure, whether or not there's a bicycle lane on the street that you're traveling on to and from your destinations. Just teaching those adults like where to be, what to wear, how to act considerate, and also just to know what to do in any type of situation you're going to come across while you're on a bike and getting yourself, around town is the thing. So we've had 2 of them so far. They've been very great. Tons of great feedback, and we love putting them on because people are just so appreciative because it gives them just a better understanding. It's like there's a lot of things out there you don't know unless you do them, and if you haven't done them or you're too scared, it's nice to be in a group the first time and do it, and then you can do it successfully alone.
That's really cool. In terms of your experience with bikes, this has been a lifelong of riding. And you mentioned early on in the show growing up in Tanglewood, which is south of Santa Maria, southwest, I guess, of Santa Maria. And did you ride a lot to school, back and forth from home to school?
When I was real small, I did. Yeah, it wasn't very far away and stuff. And then once I started attending Santa Maria High School, end of my sophomore year, I got a job, and I had to ride to school and then ride to work and then ride home. So it was a long process. And at first, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't afford a car and woe is me and stuff. And then I just, picked myself up and realized this is my situation. Everybody else has a situation too, and I can, either learn from this and be better from it, or, go down the other path of dismal thinking thoughts. And that's not the way I went.
So freedom wheels
yes,
you had.
Exactly.
Yes, and so you teach that with the youth that you work with too, I'm sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
And so what about the economics of bicycle ownership? It's one thing you just talked about, not maybe affording a car.
Yes,
but
exactly.
bicycles don't seem to be real inexpensive these days either, are they?
Yeah, so there's kind of two ways for bikes. It's like you can go to a bike shop and they're, priced adequately for the quality. They're more expensive than people imagine just because you don't buy a bicycle very often, so you get kind of sticker shock when you see that. And then you can go to the big department stores, which also sell bikes, but they're very low quality. It's something we don't very much recommend as a thing. And then Bici Centro is another option because we sell quality bikes that are a little bit older but have been refurbished and with passion for somebody to ride a good bike and have a good experience, because we want you to keep riding that bike is the thing. So for me, I always look at it as a very good economical opportunity because it was my way of getting through college without having any debt afterwards. So I didn't get any grants from school, but I just worked hard and went 40 hours a week, went full time at school, and paid for my semester after semester, and got through that way. And I have the bicycle to thank for that. So
it's a really neat life lesson.
Definitely.
And I understand that if someone is unable to afford the bicycles at BC Centro, there's a plan for that individual as well. What could that plan be?
It's the Earn a Bike program. Pretty simple. So people come in and sign up, fill out an application, and then they basically put in the hours to earn a bike. And so whether their skills are cleaning, or they can work on bikes actually, or they can do a few things, or they can just organize the shop, every little bit helps, and we put that down on paper. And once they've accumulated enough hours, then they get to take a bike home. This past weekend, I had 2 individuals earn a bike. So
wow.
It's really nice, and it gains more dedicated volunteers as well, because they get to spend a fair amount of time in the shop and realize, oh, this is something worth doing and being a part of, and it makes them feel like they're, part of something bigger than themselves, which is nice to accomplish for people.
If you could describe how those 2 individuals felt when they received their bikes, how would you describe that?
Smiling faces, that's for sure. Yeah.
That's
so
great.
we always like to put stuff out on social media. So we ask them to take a picture that they don't have to if they don't want to, but usually people are down to because they really appreciate it. And it's nice to have a picture with smiling faces and not a new bike, but a good bike for them. So.
And BC Centro then is on Facebook and Instagram?
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
so viewers can
Look at
you. Perfect, perfect. So earlier you were talking about the reach into the community, or the reach back into the community. You talked about March of the Saints, I believe.
Yes,
and
right.
that's where alums are able to come back like you and talk about careers and share it with students.
Definitely.
Right. And how often does that happen?
It happens once a year, usually towards the beginning of the year, and it just gives the students, again, another look at what's available after high school. Yeah.
It's one way to give back to the community by going back to school.
Yes, exactly.
And another way that you've gone back to school is by you being a principal for the day.
That's right.
Can you describe that experience at Rice Elementary?
That was so much fun. Yeah, the principal is such an amazing position, just so much coordinating and understanding and juggling, and just very poised too. It was interesting to see what they have to deal with throughout the day, and I loved it. It was just like, wow, this is impressive right here. This is so very
different from what you remembered.
Definitely, yeah, exactly. So yeah, very very thankful for that position. Just eye-opening, and just a pleasure to be a part of it was the thing, and I look forward to doing it again if they'll have me. It was really cool.
That's great. Lots of different hats that a principal has to wear,
yes.
for sure. You have to wear many in a day too, and so the principal. So I'm sure if you exchange positions, there'd be mutual appreciation.
Definitely.
So there are other ways in which you participate in the community. I'm going to list a few so we could talk about them. One is a bike kitchen. There's a bike kitchen that I think is pretty new here in Santa Maria. It's a partnership with the library.
That's right.
Can you say something about that?
Yeah, so the library folks reached out to us looking for a technician to work the bicycle kitchen hours. It's clinics on Fridays from, I want to say, 3 to 5. And I have a perfect guy. When I first started doing the community outreach, this kid at March of the Saints said, hey, when are you doing something like this again? And I said, I'll be at downtown Friday Night Farmers Market tonight. And he showed up. And so then he's been my longest volunteer, and just a swell kid. His name's Adolfo Pineda, and he's a junior at Santa Maria High School this year. And he's just a fantastic individual. And when they asked for a technician, I was like, I already know who I'm going to put over there. And so he went over there and came to the shop afterwards. And he said, that was so much fun. I loved it. Thank you so much for setting me up with that, which is very nice to hear.
Wow.
So, yeah.
There's mentorship there as well. Yeah,
exactly.
that you have provided for him. So the bike kitchen allows for the individuals with bicycles to stop in and get repairs, and it's just outside of BC Centro.
Yes, exactly.
And at the farmers market, or?
So actually it's at in front of the library.
Okay.
And then the downtown Friday Night Farmers Market is just another community event that we do outreach at and do bicycle valet to provide people with a space to leave their bike while they enjoy the event.
Very fun. One other partnership is with Open Streets. And so describe Open Streets.
So Open Streets is an event that is put on by Santa Barbara County Traffic Solutions and SBCAG. And so we help coordinate that. I helped find the event coordinator for the Santa Maria event. I've helped in the past with the Lompoc events that have been put on for the past 2 years in a row. Really cool.
And Ken, it sounds like through all of these experiences, these partnerships, the fact that you're out in schools, you're out quite a bit in the community, and then youth are interacting with BC Centro, people are coming into your shop, all of these different things. It just seems like there's a new energy around bicycling in the Santa Maria Valley. And I know one of the areas that you're working towards is to, I think, increase, I'll use the word, in terms of increased pathways and the infrastructure in the Santa Maria Valley. Can you talk about that? It's a really important new development.
Definitely. I mean, I'm a stakeholder for the Santa Maria ATP plan is the thing. So ATP is active transportation, and the bicycle is included in that, along with pedestrian transportation, as well as multimodal stuff with buses. So yeah, we basically want to help them gather information from the community about their wants and needs for cycling infrastructure and pedestrian infrastructure and bus route changes, or yeah. So we'd love to see more bicycle paths and safer walking conditions throughout Santa Maria. Santa Maria is a very fast-moving road city, is a thing, and with the amount of population we have here, we kind of have the biggest population from, I want to say, Oxnard to like Salinas or something like that. And so our city is not very dense, but we're just slowly getting there, and that will slow down the streets inevitably, I think. But not providing adequate pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure will, I think, have an economic downturn for the local shops that are up and down our main corridors, which are Broadway and Main Street. Yeah.
I think I read somewhere the difference in terms of South Santa Barbara County and North Santa Barbara County in terms of paths, bikes. Can you say something about that?
So yeah, I think I want to say, well, there's trails and there's paths. So trails is like off-road stuff, which is more recreational based and stuff, and then there's transportation paths. I know on our website you can go and click and see what is in progress to be done. Funding for each progress and implementation is a different story, but at least we have the information of what what the plan is called or the project is called, so you can check all that out on our website at sbbike.org. But yeah, there's definitely a lot more going on in the South Coast, and it's a lot easier to get around by bike there. It feels more friendly. It's a lot slower traffic in the downtown areas and just more accommodating is the thing. But it doesn't mean it can't be done here. You just have to have more education on it and be a little bit more vigilant about your safety. So that's where our Confident City Cycling classes come in, and the pedal power programs come in to help out as well. And
your leadership will help with that here for sure.
I hope so.
I think definitely. As we're coming to a close here, I want to ask you, what is one of the best parts of your job?
I think just the appreciation of the people that come into the shop, the thankfulness. It's just, it's always, like I said, to help people out. It's been very nice to do that, and in my own way, which is really cool. A lot of people don't get that opportunity or privilege is the thing. So it's been very nice to be able to give back to my community and just appreciate the members that appreciate me is the thing. So, yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I'd say another fun aspect, maybe not the best aspect, but another fun aspect of your job that we didn't get a chance to talk about today are having the local bands come and play at Bici Centro.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's a whole nother show. Yes. But it sounds, in speaking with Ken, it sounds like you host quite a few local youth bands, and there's a lot of popularity there, and it's just a different way to recycle the store for a concert venue.
Exactly.
Pretty neat. But most importantly, that impact in terms of your support of citizens here in the Santa Maria Valley and their support of your program. Definitely. It really brings everything together in terms of your experiences, your paths here, the 6 different degrees at Allen Hancock College all come through at Bici Centro. Ken, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
It's been fantastic. Thank you so much, Susan.
Really appreciate it. I'm Susan Salcido, Santa Barbara County Superintendent of Schools. Thank you so much for joining us today for this edition of Education Matters.